Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're delving into a terrifying piece of Japanese folklore, a story that has haunted city streets for generations, the legend of the Slit-Mouthed Woman.
It all kicks off with this one simple question, but trust me, it's a question you never ever want to be asked when you're all alone in the dark. So I want you to picture this, right? It's late in Tokyo. The city's finally gone quiet and the streets are nearly empty. A young woman, Anna, is just trying to get home.
And then she gets that feeling, you know the one. That sense of unease that creeps up on you, the feeling of being watched, maybe even followed. She hears footsteps, whips around, but there's no one there.
Just as she starts to relax, a tall figure steps right out of the shadows. They're wearing a trench coat, and their face is hidden by a surgical mask. And this figure blocks her path and asks her that one fateful question.
Okay, so let's get into this, because how you answer this question is literally a matter of life and death. And here's the kicker. There is no right answer.
This is the core of the legend's psychological horror. It's a terrifying no-win situation. If you answer yes, she rips off her mask to reveal a gruesome mouth, slit from ear to ear, and asks you again. Then she takes out a pair of scissors to make you beautiful just like her. And if you answer no, well, she becomes enraged by the insult and kills you right there on the spot.
So who is this spirit that traps her victims with a single, impossible question?
She is Kuchisake Onna, which literally means slit-mouthed woman. She's one of Japan's most infamous modern urban legends. She's what's known as an onyo, a vengeful ghost, a spirit born from a truly horrific act of violence.
But here's the thing, she wasn't always a monster. Her story actually begins with incredible beauty and ends in a terrible betrayal. What's so interesting here is how this lays out her tragic transformation from a human victim into this supernatural threat. You see, she was a stunningly beautiful woman, admired by everyone. But her husband became completely consumed by jealousy. One day, he comes home unexpectedly and finds her with another man. In a blind rage, he takes a pair of scissors, slits her mouth from ear to ear, and she dies. But her soul can't rest, and so she returns as this vengeful spirit, totally obsessed with beauty and revenge.
So now the entire city of Tokyo is paralyzed with fear. This series of brutal deaths is spreading, and with everyone in a panic, one man, a priest named Hoshima, steps up to confront the ghost.
But, the traditional methods, they prove completely useless. His first try at exorcising her with a talisman and sacred salt totally fails. The spirit just vanishes, only to come back even stronger. It seems like the encounter only made her more powerful.
Okay, let's move on, because this is where the legend really starts to build. It doesn't stay in the past, it adapts.
See, Kuchisake Onna is no longer just a figure you might meet on the street. No way. She starts using modern technology to get to her victims. She goes from lurking in dark city alleys to appearing on mobile phone screens, in bathroom mirrors, and even attacking people inside their own locked rooms.
Hoshima realizes he can't fight this spirit with spells or magic. It's just not working. He has to fight her with the truth. So in their final confrontation, he doesn't use some ancient incantation. He starts by completely reframing her own tragedy for her. He says, "Your beauty was not your enemy."
He forces her to shift the blame from herself to the real source of all her pain, her husband's insane jealousy. He tells her, his madness took your life.
And then comes the critical moment. As his words start to sink in, he holds up a sacred mirror and makes her confront what she has become. And this is just brilliant. The final blow isn't an attack on her appearance, on her scars. It's an attack on the ugliness of her actions, of her taking innocent lives. He tells her, "You are not beautiful, you are ugly." So the crucial point here is that her defeat doesn't come from some magical weapon. It comes from her finally confronting the truth of her own story. Overwhelmed by this psychological attack, the spirit just shrieks and dissolves into smoke, finally defeated. Hoshima's victory gives us a nice conclusion to that chapter for sure, but the legend itself, it is far from over. These kinds of stories never really are. And that leaves us with a final thought, doesn't it? Legends like Kuchisake Onna stick around because they tap into these timeless fears that just cleverly adapt to our modern world. It really makes you wonder, in a world full of screens and mirrors, how do our most ancient fears find new ways to reach us?